Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
What's up, and welcome to TCG Buzz. This is your boy Dalton, and I'm here with Jacob.
Hey guys.
And we have a special guest, Christian.
What's up, guys? Wait a second. What am I doing here?
Hi, Christian.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm used to talking with you over microphones on Gaming Buzz, but here it's a little bit weird.
Yeah. So why have you summoned me here today?
Because...
Get it? It's a card joke. Knee slapper.
But Buddyfight says call, not
What?
summon.
Why have you called me here to the center?
Why you call me to the center? Yes.
Because in today's episode, episode 6, we're going to be doing a tournament review on the past Springfest in Chicago that we went to. We attended this event on March 27th, 2016.
And you know what? It was a lot of fun. So I guess we should start by clarifying. None of us made top 8.
Well, I could have made top 8, but...
Could I. So could anyone who have attended.
No, I mean, they've tagged me with Hero World people, and I got wrecked.
We'll go into the specifics in a little bit, but
Yes.
why don't we just real quick go over our overall records. First of all, there were 6 rounds before the cut to top 8 for Buddyfight. I was kind of hoping they'd do 7, but we had 60 people attending, and they only do 7 rounds if you have 64 or higher. So I went 4-2. I had 4 wins, 2 losses, which I think is pretty good.
I myself had 3-3.
Nice and even.
We do not discuss my record on public anything. Let's just say it was not pretty.
Yeah, it really wasn't. But you know what? Everyone who you fought said you were really, really close. Yeah, I think you just had really bad luck this time.
I blame you.
You always blame me.
You're the one who said I should have used that deck.
I honestly thought he was going to use the other deck, but...
I should have used that other deck.
That brings up an excellent point. What decks were we playing?
Well, I'll go first, because I'm your guest, obviously. It was Darkness Dragon World for me. I was using Gate Guiders.
Yeah, I saw your Gate Guiders deck. It trolled several people. I'd say 3 people. Did you have fun with your Gate Guider deck?
Yeah, I did, because I made it myself.
What? I didn't make this deck for you? This does not seem right.
Christian is more of a fighter than he is a builder, but he built a pretty good deck this time.
Sort of to my style of messing around with people, yes.
Now, I played a Ancient World deck, specifically a Dragon Lord deck based off of Armor Dragon Stradivarius. I had a lot of really interesting things in the deck. It definitely was not something you'd normally see. But the big thing was I ran lots and lots of Omni Lords, and I think that really helped. So you played ninjas, right?
Yes.
And, you know, ninjas are good. I mean, we saw one place in top 8. What was the other deck you were considering running?
It was a fairly new deck that I had built. It was a Hero World deck, and it was a Dark Hero World deck. And in my honest opinion, at its point, it was actually fairly strong. I felt like I would have done really well, but a certain someone, Jacob, said that I should run my ninjas, just because he believed there wouldn't be many Continental World decks there. Lo and behold, there was about 6 or 7 that were at the tournament.
So to be clear, you went 1-5, right?
That was not the record. Don't believe anything this ginger has to say. The record will still be anonymous until the very day I die. So on that note, let's get a little bit more serious here. And let's go and break down each round for everybody. Starting off with round 1. Jacob?
We were all very optimistic about round 1. I'm sure every one of us knew we were going to win. But I did win round 1, but by the skin of my teeth. Round 1 was actually really hard for me. I was facing a Skull Warrior player. I believe his name was Gary. I apologize if I get your name wrong, dude, but you can just tell me if you're listening to this episode in the comments and call me an idiot. That's cool. He was playing Skull Warriors, and game 1 of the round, he 1-turn killed me.
Because you suck.
Well, I made a bad decision. on my first turn, I Divine Dragon Creation, so I lost 2 life right off the bat, and I had no shields or anything. So he was able to just pound for a whole bunch of damage using his Skull Warriors, and I'm just like, nah, dude, that's game.
So it was a smashing defeat.
Absolutely. His deck revolved around using Boy Change Yami Kitsune.
Smart man.
It's a really good card. It lets you, when a Skull Warriors on your field deals damage to the opponent, you can destroy that Skull Warriors to deal additional damage equal to the damage just dealt. So that can add up really fast. Add in the fact that he used a lot of penetrating monsters, and the deck was pretty scary.
That penetrate, huh?
Oh yeah, he double penetrated me. That's a sound bite we can keep.
And now, Christian, how did your round 1 go?
I lost
Oh,
due to, you know how Gate Guiders have low defense, right, and low attack?
yes.
Exactly that point. Because the deck that I faced was Dark Heroes.
Ah,
And he transformed into 9th Army Murakumo. He had 5,000 defense, right? Is that correct?
yes.
Yes.
My Gate Guiders usually have 2,000 to 3,000 max for attacking. So to like link attack Shadow Dive. But the problem is he never put monsters in his center. And he always had counters to stop my attacks.
Interesting.
It's funny, Dark Heroes really are the exact counter for your deck.
Yes, but actually superheroes in general, or
You mean Hero World in
Hero
general?
World in general, yes, is the exact counter to my deck.
That's actually surprising. You said he never called a monster to his center?
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's very weird.
Well, technically he did. He called like that one monster that he attacks and then returns to the deck or something.
Thief Cat?
Yeah,
Ah,
So did you end up winning the round or losing?
I lost. I won round 2 because of luck. He didn't draw any good cards. In round 3, I messed up. I called a size 2 and a 1, and I forgot to call my size 0. So I had size 1 and 2, and I could have dealt. I needed one more critical, and I could have won, but I forgot I had it in my hand.
So you and I both had really, really close matches. I mean, I only won my 3rd game because I top decked a Wrath Trigger. That's crazy. Now, what about your first round, Dalton?
my first round was a very decent round in my opinion. I lost both games back to back, but I felt like my deck was really helpful. It was giving me what I needed. I was facing an Osprodi deck, and the second game, I got my Gojimaru out, but I got magical goodbye 3 times by no other than Brandon, the person who went on to win Springfest. And on that note of me losing to the champion,
Brandon is actually a really good friend of TCG Buzz, and we got to hang out with him a lot throughout the days of the tournament, and we had a really great time with him. And we're proud of him winning, and we did nab that interview with him.
oh yes. Now let's move on to round 2. I'll start off here. I faced a Darkness Dragon World deck, but it was surrounded around Actor Knights.
Was it a Actor Knight's Judgment deck?
It was, but I just so happened to lose because my deck trolled me. I didn't get either of my Gojimaru copies in hand when I drew. I just did not get anything. I won the first game because I did get my Gojimaru out, but after that, I could not do anything. Deck trolled me, and games 2 and 3 went to Darkness Dragon World. You won this time. Christian?
Well, for round 2, I faced Star Dragon World. Jackknife Star Dragon World based.
Is there any other Star Dragon World?
I've seen a couple Omega Big Bang decks, but like 99% of Star Dragon World decks are Jack decks.
Yep, and it had the Impact monster version in there too.
Oh, I see.
Which was interesting, but I won this run. I actually won both games back to back. First round, Shadow Dive for the win. I moved his monster with my Death Wand Sturban, moved into the center and Shadow Dive, and screwed up his strategy. And then game 2, I Death Modai.
Death Modai.
Yep, he could not go through the defense. I was just like, that 10,000 defense, he could not go through it. Oh my gosh. I just burned him down, and I won.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
That's good. That's good.
So
Yeah, even more funny when I called my size 0s just to add insult to injury.
So my round 2 was once again really, really close, and I won by the skin of my teeth again. Though not as close because we only went 2 games, and I won both of them, but each game was super close. The first one, I was playing against a Kaiser drum deck that also mixed in Jackknife drum. So the entire idea of the deck was to call a Jackknife Dragon and then use his ability to get Jackknife drum on him, and then put SD drums from the drop zone into his soul, and then super deformed drums from the field into his soul. Stack up the soul, and then call Kaiser drum on top.
Smart move, very smart move. Don't care for Jackknife, but very smart move.
The interesting thing was the guy I fought round 2 was actually from the same group of people as the guy I fought round 1, and their decks were both built by the same person who was watching our match. He's like, "Are you just coming for my whole team?" Round 1, him and I were neck and neck, and we were both down at 1 life, and he attacked me. He had his Kaiser drum and had only 1 soul left. He attacked me, hit me down to 0, and then I burn nova'd. So I got to call burn nova. My life became 1 again. Burn nova was on the field. He had to end his turn, couldn't do anything. And then I attacked him for 2, and then he discarded Drum's soul to prevent him from losing using Drum's ability. Then I stood back up, and I attacked for 2, and he nullified it with a blue dragon shield.
Oh, the wrong shield.
And then I stood back up, and I attacked for 2, and he's like, "Yep, I got nothing, I'm done."
I honestly feel like you could have attacked Drum first and then saved your other 2.
I could have, but it would have been the same outcome.
Yeah, but it might have been less. He might have used his Blue Dragon Shield to try to save him, then go for it, or let it go through.
Yeah, either way, I still would have won.
That's true, but many ways you could have done this and still come out with the same outcome.
I had never had that matchup before against Kaiser Drum. It wasn't one of the decks I really prepared for, and I was kind of fighting against it blind, especially since it was a pretty unique build, but it ended up working out in my favor, but I was kind of nervous throughout it.
As you should be. You should never just feel like you're going to sweep. And moving on to round 3, roughly the halfway point in the Buddyfight tournament. Christian, why don't you start us off? Who did you face?
I faced Darkness Dragon World Actor Knights.
Was it the same guy Dalton fought?
Yes.
And how did you fare? Did your deck troll you like his did?
No, I Shadow Die for the win. So he usually called his size 1 that attacks if there's other Actor Knights on the field and deals 3 damage. But I had monsters in my center, and then I casted Midnight Shadow to stop his attacks. And then the funny thing is that he tried so hard to beat me, and I'm just like, no, you can't. And then game 2, he won. And then on game 3, I just impacted him because I got another turn with my Gate Guider impact.
That's nice. That's very nice. Now, Jacob.
So I received, in round 3, my first loss of the day.
Yay!
And the person I lost to ended up going into top 8 and placing 3rd. It was a Danger World 8th Omni deck.
I'm so proud.
Interesting.
And my deck is pretty good at walling, and the only thing it really doesn't do well against is decks that wall better than it. And this guy walled like a pro. He just sat there taking everything and then nullifying every single attack. I don't think I destroyed his 8th Omni Lord once.
Damn, that's really disheartening.
Yeah, I was a little bit salty over this one. I mean, not too bad, but I mean, it was a fun match, but he kicked my butt. Now, I think the only thing that annoyed me about this round was, despite the fact that his deck really did have a clear advantage against mine, I was so close to beating him.
So close doesn't matter, Jacob.
I know. But game 1, he beat me. Game 2, I beat him. And then game 3, I had him down to 2 life, and he nullified my last attack, and then he beat me the next turn.
Burn Nova couldn't save you then, huh?
No, because I had Burn Nova in my hand, but I only had 2 gauge.
Oh, that 2 gauge, though.
So I was a gauge short from victory.
That gauge, bro. It matters.
It makes me cry every Tim.
And then my round 3. I won the first game. It was against the Raging Spirit deck, a very plain Raging Spirit. I think a lot of inspiration from Enma in his deck, and she called out her Gang the King, which happened to be her buddy, and I blew past that easily. But game 2 and 3 was kind of a deck troll, but more of the fact that she had the better size 3 out.
Billion Knuckle?
Billion Knuckle.
I've said from the beginning that Billion Knuckle is the best Raging Spirit size 3.
Well, after you got over the hype of Gang the King.
Yes, but Gang the King, in all reality, sucks.
This is very true. But then again, they had to make up for that 5 crit. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But overall, Billion Knuckles, infinitely better. And you know what? I can definitely see why you had some trouble against Billion Knuckle. I just think your deck wouldn't be too great at handling that wall.
Well, I don't think it was that. I think it was the fact of if I had a way to add more souls to Gojimaru, because each time she had her Billion Knuckle out, I had my Gojimaru out. And I had the power to do it. I had the double attack. But the thing that really killed me, because she did use, what is it, Wrath of a Thousand Dragons? Or
A dragon against thousands.
a dragon against thousands, I'm sorry, to increase his soul. Of course, that only boosts his attack, so that didn't scare me too much. But the fact that he has counterattack was a real drawback on it. If I could have just somehow have added souls, and of course, I would not use Ultimate Buddy because, it's.
I'm telling you, dude, Art of Heat Haze. I mean, sure, the move is redundant, but that extra soul.
Yeah, that's true. Man, I don't think I could remember that at the time when I made the deck.
We should definitely play test that.
We should. Yeah, that's basically it for the Raging Spirit. I know we had our little mini break in the tournament. You know, we did the whole talking, buying some cards and all this.
Speaking of which, you know, now that we're talking about the break, let's take a break from talking about our rounds and talk about the anemones we had. Can we agree that the vendors kind of sucked?
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, let me clarify this. There were 2 vendors. One that was part of the local area called Cardfight Underground. I'm sorry. I'm just such a Buddyfight player. I'm sorry. Cardfight Underground. They did have some nice things and all this, but in the end, it did seem like there wasn't as much to pick from. And the other one was the Gaming Goat. I love you guys, but you did not have much stuff. We were there for the Vanguard and the Buddyfight tournaments, and it was just a lot of support for Vanguard, obviously. Not much support for Buddyfight or Weiss Schwartz. And we also ended up selling some cards, of course, for Buddyfight, but they were really hesitant about it. Jacob, I think you had a few words on this.
My biggest disappointment, one of the things I was most excited for while we were there, was I was going to buy a whole bunch of booster boxes of Buddyfight and maybe a couple for Vanguard, and then bring them home in my suitcase so we could do unboxing videos, since typically they're cheaper than if you order them online or buy them from a local card store.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one had anything. I mean, one of them just had a couple boxes of the character pack, and they were overpriced, and they were probably the lamest set in Buddyfight history. And the other one, Gaming Goat, had just really, really new stuff. They only really had Terror of the Inverse Omnilords.
They had Terror of the Inverse Omnilords, Cyber Ninja Squad, and
Mikado Evolution.
Mikado Evolution. So basically newer, and then one of the original sets.
And they only had one box of Cyber Ninja Squad and only brought 2 boxes of Mikado Evolution.
I think they had a few of the Terror of the Inverse Omnilords, but again, come on, guys. Christian, did you have a few words?
Yes, I just hate how the Gaming Goat said that Buddyfight wouldn't sell, and then they were sold out of Buddyfight. Like, they didn't have any restock for it.
And then they had a whole bunch of people asking, hey, where's your Buddyfight? Oh, we didn't bring any.
The disrespect.
Yeah, why are you gonna not bring Buddyfight stuff the day of Buddyfight? You know, like, when like you have 60 people that want to spend your money with you guys.
And for each vendor, they had these boxes which had singles in them and all this. Cardfight Underground, obviously, for each day, they had their respected, but they focused more around Vanguard and Buddyfight, not so much with Weiss Schwartz, which I could kind of see. Buddyfight is growing a bit faster than Weiss Schwartz, I believe, but Weiss Schwartz does have the initial bigger group than Buddyfight. Both days, they had Vanguard singles, which was disappointing. I was kind of looking because between the 2 vendors, I noticed that Goat happened to be a tiny bit cheaper, and I was really looking forward to going to them and getting some singles that I wanted, but Vanguard. And it's like, this is horrible. I don't want to do this. I'm fine. Bye. Jacob?
One thing, I do have to give one positive for each shop, just because, you know, we are kind of being pretty negative. You know, that we have a lot of criticism, but we only have a lot of criticism because we hope they'll be better next time.
Oh, yes, definitely.
But each one did have one thing I really liked. I really appreciated the fact that Cardfight Underground had a whole bunch of Buddyfight merchandise, not necessarily cards, but everything else, deck boxes, sleeves, etc.
Oh, yes. Yes, I agree.
A very nice variety and at good prices. And you know what? That was really cool. And their single selection was also pretty decent for Buddyfight. My one criticism for them, no boxes. They had boxes last time when we went to regionals. Where were the boxes?
I feel that might have to do with it being Springfest and not regionals. And when we went to regionals, we did have a way bigger turnout. I believe, how many was it? Like,
It was 90 versus 60.
yeah, a 30% difference, which I can kind of see why they did it. Not really.
Now for Gaming Goat, the one really nice compliment I do have for them is that their process for selling or trading them cards was very well organized.
Oh, yes.
You know, it was a very nice process. Granted, the lines were quite long to do so, but once you got into the seat to trade them or sell them cards, it was nice, organized, and it was stress-free. Whereas with Cardfight Underground, the way it worked was you throw them a binder and they just pick things out and give you prices. It was much more organized with Gaming Goat.
I feel like Gaming Goat was a little bit more open to taking in cards, where Cardfight Underground was kind of, we only want the harder to find cards and all this, where Gaming Goat was actually looking for the turnover to see how fast they can actually sell these cards, and so they took them in and so forth.
Also, one last piece of nice stuff about one of the vendors before we get back into the actual rounds. Gaming Goat had the biggest selection of SPs for Vanguard I have ever seen. They had an entire case of them. There had to be 300-400 SPs. It was crazy.
That is very true. And I believe you got one of them after selling all your cards, correct?
Well, I didn't get an SP. I got a Legion Rare.
Ah, that's close enough.
Yeah, close enough. I got a Legion Rare CEO Yggdrasil, which I'm sure everyone's going to yell at me for mispronouncing. But in truth, there's no proper way to pronounce that word because it's from a dead language. Now, why don't we go back into those nice, happy rounds?
Yeah, happy.
I'm sorry.
Round 4.
Fight.
Yes, in a sense. I faced a Dungeon World Knight deck. It was 2 games. She had a very nicely built deck, and she was on her way of almost getting into the final 8, or top 8, excuse me. But she didn't, unfortunately. I was rooting for her after I did lose to her. But first game was kind of back and forth. It was kind of, if I could have survived one more turn, I could have won. But game 2, now that's the game you should have been watching if you were Jacob or Christian. I got 2 secret swords down, and it was just basically waiting and waiting. And she was super scared. She had Amzeria out, and I forget what the other card was out. But we were just kind of going back and forth. Because my starting hand for that game, I had Goji Maru in my hand. And that was the only monster in my hand. So I went maybe a good almost 10 rounds before I can even finally get him out onto the field. And it was just so stressful on me. I'm like, all I can do is hit final turn, final phase. I can't even think of what the thing is because of how good the match was, because I could nullify her attacks to keep me going, and it was just so close. But the deck troll, it was there for real. She was a really nice person, and we both talked till afterwards, and I was really rooting for her to get in top 8, but she didn't, unfortunately. So Jacob, who did you face for round 4?
Well, I fought a young kid. The person I was playing was, I don't want to insult him in case he's listening, but I think he was around 12 or 13.
Okay.
Which was interesting because despite Buddyfight being a game that is orientated in its marketing, at least, towards children, there are probably only 3 or 4 people under 18 playing.
Yes.
But I fought him. At the time, we had the same record. We were both 2-1 at the time, and we were playing. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I did not have very much challenge at all. I really hope I don't hurt this kid's feelings. It really was an easy round for me. He was basically playing the Black Dragon start deck with a couple upgrades. But there were 2 really interesting things. One, he used a card called Death Game, which has both players play rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins chooses a card on the field, and it gets destroyed. And he did it when he had nothing on the field.
Smart kid.
So I won, but because of the card, I had to choose one of my own cards to destroy. And that's a great combo, and I respect him for that. And the second thing, he may not have been the most experienced Buddyfight player. He seemed kind of nervous, and he made some plays maybe I would not have made playing the same deck. But you know what? I have never seen someone shuffle as pro as he did. It was like, whoa, dude, slow down. I have no idea what you're doing. It's just like,
Shuffle game on fleek, I see.
oh, it was bomb, dude. I'm just like, whoa.
Now you're going to be a dealer, my son. You're going to be a dealer.
It would be a good career for him, to be honest, because holy cow.
All right, Christian, who did you face in round 4?
I fought a superhero deck and lost. Wah.
That Hero World trolling you again, huh?
Uh-huh. It was a superhero deck. Captain Answer. Is it Final Answer? Is that right?
Was it Final Answer or was it Overlord?
No, it was Final Answer.
Final Answer?
Mhm.
Okay.
And Jesus Christ, the dude knows his deck. Like, every time he guessed, he got him right.
Damn, so he hit you with that double attack, I see.
Yep, and because Final Answer destroys a monster and then double attacks, I was like destroyed. No chance.
I may be wrong, but I believe there was only one person playing a Captain Answer deck. Like I said, I may be wrong. I didn't see everyone's decks. And the person who played it ended up placing second in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if he's the one you fought.
Well, there's a lot of... I faced 3 Hero World decks in my entire, in the whole game.
The whole
The
tournament?
whole tournament, yes. Obviously, 3 of the losses were all Hero World. And I think there were other people actually playing, like, transforming into Markumo and Captain Answer decks. You just probably didn't see them.
Well, I think the way you were talking about your deck being Final Answer, wasn't the second placer an Overlord deck?
I am not sure. Anyway, he pretty much won both rounds. And I give him props for that because he got his deck, he knew how to do it, and he was very thought out deck, and I respect him for that.
That's pretty nice, dude. Captain Answer in the beginning was never really a viable meta deck, but after this tournament, I'm thoroughly convinced that Captain Answer is completely viable.
And if it's done right, yeah, you can really damage people's strategies. Also, Transform. I can't beat Transformation. It's like too much defense for me.
Right.
And round 5, kind of the deciding round, in my opinion, because at this point, a lot of people have started to drop out, and it was kind of left to the people who are at 3-1 or 4-0. So, Jacob, what deck did you face in round 5?
Oh boy, round 5, huh?
Yes.
It was a size 3 Osmodai deck. And it was not the one used by the champion, Brandon or Amos. It was a different person using a similar deck. And the entire round, all 2 games, lasted 4 minutes.
Whoa.
Well, rip. Literally.
He destroyed me. He was my only other loss of the day. And, just like the last loss I had, he walled me to death. My deck walls well, but if it faces a deck that walls better than it, my deck just shuts down. And I happened to get paired against another wall deck, and it did not go pretty. I did make one mistake, though. I don't know how much it would have helped if I hadn't made it. We probably would have had the same outcome. But between game 1 and 2, I forgot to sideboard.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know how much it would have helped. Probably not much at all. But it still was a mistake.
All right, Christian, what deck did you face in round 5?
I faced Star Dragon World, and this Star Dragon World was completely different out of my expectations. No Jackknife.
That 1% came true.
Yes. And this deck, for the love of whatever god people believe in, it was strong, but I still beat it. But it was funny because we both had the same sense of humor.
Okay. How was this so?
Well, it was like back-to-back. Game 1, I won. Game 2, he won. Game 3, I won. This round was like the longest game I've ever faced. And even the judges were looking, and there's like, the hell's going on here? There were 2 judges there just watching us play.
So, Dalton, what about your round 5?
I faced another Raging Spirit deck. This one was a little bit better. It was more focused around Billy and Knuckle. So, with that said, my deck trolled me. Oh, you weren't suspecting that, were you now? You thought it was just Billy and Knuckle trolled? No, it's just plain deck trolled. Just couldn't get anything that could attack Billy and Knuckle, even in a link attack. It was quite...
Did you just get SDs and Sheedens?
No, what did I... I think I got SD Bakuyas and original Tsukikage.
Yeah, I can see where you'd have a problem.
Yep, I had the crit and everything, but I did not have the power. Yeah.
Especially if they're a dragon against thousands,
Yes.
that would hurt.
I don't think they did, actually. I just never had a chance to get something to actually whittle down Billy and Knuckle. And now, the final round. Round 6. I'll start us off here. I had a bye. All right, Jacob.
Yeah, I guess they figured they're like, hey, Dalton, you're done, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not meant to be any sort of offense to you, dude. But I think the organizer just like, let's just give him a win.
No, I think it was by that time a lot of people had dropped out and all that.
That makes sense to me. Well, my round, I was fighting a Brave Machine deck.
It's the meta.
Not anymore. You know, back when we went to regionals back in September, they were the big scary deck everyone was preparing against.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I fought this guy, beat him like, boom, dead.
It was just you played your trump card, you had your Exodia or something? Like, what's going on here?
Yes, if Exodia is renamed to Inverse 8th Omnilord.
Ah.
Because the thing was, with my Inverse 8th Omnilord, he could break through his Kaiseron's defense easily.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he nullified it, he was still automatically taking 1 damage each time. And with the fact that my monster had Soul Guard and I kept getting cards to nullify his attacks, I was in the clear and beat him 2-0.
Nice. Was there anything interesting about his deck at all?
He did run 1 card I did not expect, but, you know, thinking about it now, it makes perfect sense. He ran one of the Cyber Police monsters, a superhero. And it's a monster with 3,000 power, 2 critical, 1,000 defense, and move.
Oh.
And the move was the interesting part because he'd put it on the left or right. Actually, at one point, he had 1 on the left and 1 on the right. And then he had Kaiseron attacking from the center. And then on my turn, he'd just move it to the center to save him for an attack. That was really clever.
Yeah, very clever, very clever.
Now, what about you, Christian?
Yes, Christian. What deck did you face this time?
Quartet 5.
Quartet 5, so another Hero World deck.
So you lost.
Yes.
The fated downfall of Shadow Divers.
I
can't believe you got paired up against 3 of them, though.
Yeah, I think if the randomizer that they have there for against people would have faced me against non-Hero World, I could have probably make it to top 8. But nonetheless, I still had fun, though. His deck was pretty nice. It was the basic Quartet 5 with a few changes here. It had, you know, that what is that drum that keeps stands every time he...
Rescue Dragon Drum?
Yes, that one. That's insane.
That is quite insane.
So that's how our rounds went. But there was a bit of controversy regarding top 8.
Yes, there was.
So let's start with the fact that there was a 4-way tie for 8th place. There was a bit of controversy with the top 8. We don't know all the details because the staff were a bit quiet about it all. But we know that for the last cut to top 8, there was a 4-way tie. Now, there are 2 odd things with this. Apparently, the cut to top 8 for 8th place was separated by 4 people who had records of 4 and 2, which I'm a bit confused by because I also had 4 and 2, and I know several others had 4 and 2.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure, and no one really was sure, how Bushiroad determined who of those 4 and 2 players got to go in top 8.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure they had something, or they just picked him out of a hat, which in that case, if they did it randomly, I would be very angry.
No, I think they did say to come up to top tables to actually battle it out, I believe.
Right, but only those 4.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is, after that was all done, we ended up with only 7 people in the top 8.
Yes.
So it's a top 7.
You're right.
So what happened?
The world may never know.
Anyone who was in top 8 or I guess top 7 or listening to this, or maybe if you were a judge or something, if you could just fill us in on what happened during that time, we'd love to hear it because everyone I know who attended is just kind of scratching their head.
Yes. Yes.
I'm guessing they didn't have enough top 8 medals.
They should have had at least 8.
That's the thing. Probably had 7.
That would be pretty lame. But now let's talk about some events that happened after the tournament was over and late at night, because we did meet up with the champion and his group of friends, and I know you and Christian did face him. Let's talk about those matches real quick. Jacob, how did you do against him?
Well, all 3 of us fought Brandon, you in the tournament,
Yes.
and us outside the tournament. I was destroyed by him because, well, he had an Osbrodi deck and he walled me.
Mhm.
And I told him from the beginning, I'm like, dude, my deck's not going to do well against you, but I just want to play against you anyways. So he beat me 2 games out of 3 easily. And I'm like, all right, counter. I cast Christian. And I'm like, all right, you got to fight this guy now. He's going to beat you.
All right, Christian. Now, here's the big question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you win or did you lose?
I beat him.
What? The champion was dethroned at the very night?
Oh no, now Brandon's not going to do an interview with me because he's going to be upset that we talked about how he lost to Christian.
Well, it was just for fun, though.
Right. Oh wait,
It's never for fun.
guys, he won't know this, any of this until afterwards.
Yes.
So it's okay.
Yay!
Brandon, if you're upset that we're talking about how you lost to Christian, we're sorry, bro.
I'm not. I'm just kidding.
No, but in all honesty, it makes perfect sense that Christian's deck beat him. His deck primarily uses a size 3 Osmodai in the center. So Christian just Shadow Dive.
Yep.
And Brandon's like, yeah, I lost.
Yeah, and it
Well-
kind of seen between the 3 decks there, between Brandon's, yours, and Christian's, it was a triangle effect.
It was a rock, paper, scissors?
It was a rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, because my deck really does well against Christian's,
Well, I can Shadow Dive it also.
but you've never been able to Shadow Dive me down to 0. You did once, and I burned Nova'd you.
See, that's the problem.
But even then, I've got a lot of cards to counter Shadow Dive. But your deck, 9 times out of 10, would beat Brandon's,
Mm-hmm.
and Brandon's 9 times out of 10 would beat mine. So it's just this weird situation.
See, unlike you, I have Great River of Hate's Archelon, which prevents my monsters from being destroyed or returned to hand. Well, the Death Rulers, at least.
It's like your deck was specifically built to counter his.
And it's like the Hero World decks were made to counter mine.
Get good, bro. Get good.
So, none of us made top 8, but
Yes.
I had a really good time. And not only did we get some great trades, I actually got to build one of the decks I've been looking to build forever.
Yeah, and I think it's a fairly expensive deck, isn't it not?
The most expensive, one of the most expensive decks in existence.
So when's that PS4 coming in? I mean,
The day before Buddyfight was Vanguard, and I got a trade with someone for a single copy of Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukuyomi.
Oh, nice, nice.
And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm building the full deck.
Mm-hmm.
So $50 and $400 worth of trades later, I now have a complete Tsukuyomi deck.
Whoa. That took no time at all, bro. Like,
It's actually funny because we talked in a previous episode, I believe it was episode 2 of the show, called The Fall of Vanguard, where Dalton and I talked about some issues we had with Cardfight Vanguard. And one of them was me talking about how difficult that deck was to build. But I sucked it up and I built it anyways.
yeah, and you proved yourself wrong.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My binder's pretty much empty now.
Well, that's true.
And I really have to replenish my stock of cards for trade. But I am really happy to have the deck now. I just wish it didn't cost me an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
One thing I also really loved about getting to go to Chicago and have fun was I got to meet a whole bunch of new people, and I even did a little bit of promoting of TCG Buzz.
Yes, especially during the Vanguard Day. because the Vanguard Day was a team style. So there was about 105 teams, about 315 people in total in the tournament. I was the only one to actually do well, and it was quite funny.
Our team was called Team TCG Buzz.
Yes.
And it was me, it was Dalton, and it was my sister who attended the competition with us.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing Bermuda Triangles.
I was playing a Gold Paladin deck.
That was incredibly outdated.
Incredibly outdated.
We're talking a third generation, like Season 3 trial deck that's been slightly updated.
Yes.
And my sister was playing a Chronojet Next Stage deck, a Gear Chronicle deck.
Mm-hmm.
So the way the tournament worked was if you lost twice, you were out of the tournament.
Yes.
So round 1, we lost.
We got swept.
We got swept, and it was kind of my fault. I mean, we still would have lost, but I really should have won my game.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you didn't.
So round 2, you won.
Yes.
My sister lost, and I lost. But the stupid thing, once again, I should have won, and this time it was flat out a mistake I made.
You weren't paying attention, were you?
I wasn't. I was fighting a Nova Grappler deck, and the dude had 7 attacks in a turn. He had 2 left. One was, I think, 14,000 power. The second one was like 35,000. No, it was more
like
than
40-something, right?
It was 46, I think. And I took the first one thinking, oh, I'll save my cards to guard the second one. And then I put the card in the damage zone, and he goes, that's 6 damage.
No, I think it was after the second one, after the big one. Because after the big one, because you were like, okay, I could take this, and that puts me at 4. And thinking after he attacks you again, because you didn't block, because I watched.
I didn't block. I was at
5 instead of 4.
Yes. And so I thought I was at 4 damage, but I was actually at 5. One of the cards was covering up the other, and I just wasn't counting.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the last damage, and
he stuck out his hand. He's like, good game. And you're just like, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? And I actually had to move the card and see there was an extra one there. I'm like, why? And Dalton was watching at that point because he had already won his match.
Yeah, because it was quite funny because I won kind of the exact same way you did. I was playing a Dark Irregular deck, and I forget what his big trump card was, but I know it required a lot of soul charging, and he just happened to soul charge all of his copies of his Legion partner.
Oh, that
so
sucks.
He went to go Legion. He goes through his deck, and he's like, I didn't, did I? Then checks souls. He's like, I did. Good game.
Nice. Nice, dude.
Yes.
Oh, so it was interesting, but unfortunately, after those 2 rounds, we were out of the tournament.
Well, we did have a third round, but the judges came over and were like, there was a mistake. It was a whole Steve Harvey thing. There was a mistake. You guys are both eliminated. And we were talking to the other group, kind of like, well, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be moving on after this point. I think it might have just been a mistake, but let's just play. So we did.
So anyways, it was not a good day for us.
It was good for me.
But you know what? That left us like 6 hours to do nothing but trading in free fights.
Yes.
And networking with other people. And that was fun. Christian did not play Vanguard that day, so he really had a lot of time to do trades and walk around and see the sights.
I actually went to the hot tub while you guys were.
We're sitting here getting our butts kicked. Christian's like, ah.
You know, one quick thing about Vanguard Day. I was 100% not looking forward to playing. I'm all like, because we had the idea that it was going to be kind of like how it was in the anime where one player went out, faced another, and so forth. But it turned out all 3 of us played at once. And I didn't really want to play. I'm more of Buddyfight. I've thrown more money into it. And I'm kind of throwing money into Vanguard again, especially after the tournament.
Yeah, with how well you did. You can't stay away from it anymore, dude.
I know. And I'm all like, maybe I should try to throw some money at this now because I actually did good.
And you're actually pretty good at the game.
Mediocre. We'll go mediocre.
With more practice, you'll be pretty darn good. So overall, did you guys have fun? Because that's the most important part. Winning and going to California for Continentals and everything is cool and all. But did you guys have fun? I know I did.
You had to bring up Cali again, huh?
I'm sorry.
I wanted to go, man.
We'll just take a TCG Buzz vacation there. It'll be great. Oh, wait, we're broke. Never mind.
I was about to say, can we afford that?
Did you guys have fun, though?
I did.
I guess. Besides the fact that I really wanted to be in top 8 at least. That was my main goal. And
So what are each of us going to do different for regionals this year?
Impact monsters.
never listen to you again.
Okay, good ideas. Good. I'm going to do nothing at all different. I'm just going to stick at it again, try a deck that I like that's also strong, and test my luck.
Yeah.
Danger Worlds is strong.
Danger World really isn't for me.
Yeah, he can't get up to that 147 crit. And before we go, are there any sets that are coming out that our listeners should be aware of?
Well, since we've been focusing on Buddyfight, why don't we talk about a Buddyfight set?
Ooh.
All right. So it's the very first booster set for the new season of Buddyfight, Buddyfight Triple D,
Ooh.
which we have talked about before on the show. Episode 4, check it out. Shameless plug. So the new set is called Unleash Impact Dragon.
Dragons galore.
And you, me, and Christian over there are going to be buying half a case.
Yes, we are. Because it has support for Dragon World, Star Dragon World, Darkness Dragon World, obviously. And the fourth, most obvious one, Ancient Magic.
Magic Dragon World.
Yes. Yes, it doesn't quite fit, especially since you would think Ancient World would be that fourth slot, but Magic it is.
You know, I'm really excited for this set. Not only do we get some sick impact monsters, but I think the 4 worlds that chose to support in this one can really offer some interesting things. I'm particularly excited for the Black Dragon support.
As am I.
And I know you're also looking to build both the Sun Dragons and the Blue Sky Knights from Dragon World.
Blue Sky Knights, Sun Dragons, a Void deck, and beef up my Wizard deck. So, wow. Yeah, 4 decks that I'm looking to get up there.
And I know, Christian, you're looking for the Gate Guider support and also the 100 Demon stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, basically, since we're looking for everything but the Star Dragon World cards.
We're going to keep Dragon, Darkness Dragon, and Magic, and burn all the Star Dragon World cards.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Visit our sponsors who make this podcast possible by visiting tcgbuzz.com/sponsors. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends on Facebook and on Twitter, or submit a show review. You can do this by visiting tcgbuzz.com/6. That is the number 6, not the word. TCG Buzz is a proud member of Newsmakers Podcast Network, an ever-growing network of podcasts, covering many business and entertainment topics. Please check them out at npcn.tv. I'd like to say thank you to Christian for joining us on this tournament review. Thanks again, Christian.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And until next time, I'm Dalton,
I'm Jacob.
I'm Christian.
and this was TCG Buzz.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.